Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list is only going to be a top 5. And why is that? Because I'm going through the top 5 notes that were on my wish list last year that I managed to get. I put out a wish list last year of 10 notes, and surprisingly, I got half of them. That's pretty good. This year, I think I'm going to do a top 20 for wish list notes, and maybe I can get 10 of them over the course of the next 12 months. We'll see what happens. But anyway, you can, I'll try to put a link below to last year's top 10 wish list so you can see what I was looking for, and then you can see these notes here that I just was able to cross off. All right, let's get started. Number 5 this week. Number 5 is a note that doesn't surprise anybody that I was able to knock off the list. This is a $5 Federal Reserve banknote. It's not a national banknote. It does say national currency on the top, but national currencies were backed by national banks. They would put money on deposit and then have money printed with their names on it. Those banks were the ones technically backing the money. A Federal Reserve banknote, different from a Federal Reserve note. A Federal Reserve note, the Federal Reserve says the note is worth money. A Federal Reserve banknote means that the Federal Reserve Bank, this one, the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, was the one actually backing the note. Now, in my course of collecting, I got the 20 and the 50 and the 100 and the 10, and I didn't ever get a 5. I don't know how a 5 slipped out of my view, but that was an easy one to knock off the list. So number 5 this week is my $5 Federal Reserve banknote from Chicago. Take a look at the back. Yep, that's a $5 bill. Check it off the list. This particular one, FR 1850G is the FR number on that one. Number 4. I was always amused by this note, so I knew it had to make my wish list. This is a series right there, series 1891, $2 silver certificate. 1891 $2 silver certificate with William Wyndham on it. The Wyndham note. I always call this guy Paul Sorvino. To me, he's a dead ringer for Paul Sorvino. You be the judge. But yeah, that's the note that has always gotten my attention. He only appeared on this one particular note, and it was a relatively, I don't want to call it cheap, but it was an easier purchase for me to do compared to some of the $1,000 purchases that I've done. So I scooped this one up as soon as I could. The 1891 $2 silver certificate, there's the back right there. This particular note is number FR245 on the list, and it is number 4 for my top 5 wish list notes that I acquired last year. Number 3, another note I'm pretty proud of. This one is the 1862 $2 legal tender. The very first issue by our federal government was technically the demand notes. And those were from 1861. 1862, they came out with these that were actually spendable legal tender, thus the name, legal tender notes. They made a 1, a 2, a 5, a 10, probably made a 20 as well. I always found the 1 and the 2 very interesting. I've had the 1 for a while, so I knew I had to get the 2. The interesting part about these notes is one of the security features that they use. This little circle here, you can see it's got 1, 2, 3. This is the $2 note, so the 2 is highlighted. On the $1 note, they highlighted the 1. But what was the 3 for? Apparently, they were going to make a $3 bill. But after making a 1 and a 2, and then going up to 5, they thought, well, let's save some paper and not do the 3. Even though there is evidence right there that it was planned. The 1862 $2 legal tender, there's the back of it there. This note does have some repairs on it. I was able to get it at a good price. It's graded. I like it. I think the condition of the note's actually really good for the grade. I'm sure it was the repairs that knocked it down just a bit. And if you can see, it does have the signature of F.E. Spinner, General Spinner right there. Whenever you see these here, that's part of his signature. He used one of those really wide calligraphy pens. Very, very cool signature. Easy to identify. Anyway, that one was number 3 on my list. The 1862 $2 legal tender, FR number 41. Gotta love a 2-digit FR number. All right, number 2. Number 2 on my wish list, I got a hold of a Tombstone note. Yes, I did. This particular one, series of 1891. The original Tombstone note was issued in 1886. The 1891 version was a little bit cheaper, and it features Vice President Hendricks. Vice President Thomas Hendricks was elected vice president. He only served in 1885. He actually died in office. And for 1886, they put him on the $10 silver certificate. You can see it's got the famous Tombstone outline around him. So this is known as the Tombstone note. Take a look at the back. There is the back of the Tombstone note. Once again, one of the notes that a very popular note, and I was very eager to get on my list. This one, the FR number on this one is 299. That is number 2 on my list. And number 1 from the good gets to check off the wish list, I got a Porthole. 1923 $5 silver certificate, the Porthole note featuring Abraham Lincoln. Now, this was a very controversial note at the time, even though it was put out in 1923, which was quite a ways after Lincoln's death. People viewed this not as a porthole, but looking down a gun sight. And they thought that was in rather poor taste to be looking down the barrel and seeing President Lincoln, who happened to have been assassinated, on our currency like that. We have come to know it as the porthole, as if Lincoln is looking out a porthole, but that wasn't the first thought that came to everybody's mind. Take a look at the back. You've got the rays, very familiar from the poker chip. Same year, different series. That was out of the legal tenders. This one here from 1923, the $5 silver certificate, FR282. And yeah, that was my highest wish list note that I was able to cross off the list. I highly recommend you guys make a wish list for yourself of notes that you'd like to get in the coming year. Do 10 or 20 and see how many you get to check off. They don't all have to be $1,000 notes. Some of them could be very attainable, because believe me, there's nothing more fun than being able to scratch off one of those notes from your list. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.